Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Clevy and it is so nice to meet you. And yes, we are back with our warrior and our fighter, Senator Mullin. You guys remember the last video we did where during the Senate hearing where some Democrats were trying to like blast Pete? If you haven't seen that video, I'm gonna link it right up. Is it here or here? But one of the cats will pop up right now, and you're going to be seeing that video. They were trying to drill him, trying to make him feel like, he's not worthy of the position that he was being given, right? And Senator Mullin came in, asked questions that no one could answer back, like, he pointed out their hypocrisy to them, right? And now he's back on CNN. Senator Mullin on CNN, I have high expectations. So let's see how this will go.
My Republican source was in the room there today. He's a member of the Armed Services Committee, Republican Senator from Oklahoma, Sen Mullin. Those were the Democrats we heard from. Of course, Republicans had their fair share of questions. But on this news tonight that Senator Ernst says she is a yes. We have not heard that from her yet. What's your reaction to that?
Well, she did her due diligence. She said from the beginning she was going to give Pete a fair chance. Pete did exactly what he said he was going to do. He was going to take the fight to the members, not let the media figure this out themselves. And he went from meeting to meeting with one member at a time, explaining the situation, facing the tough questions. And then today, he handled himself with dignity and class. He took the oncoming fire. He was composed, and he handled himself with a great compassion for the job. And I think at the end of the day, Joni was like, that's what I was looking for right there. And she waited till she saw what she needed to see and committed to voting for him.
Do you think her saying yes virtually assures that he will get confirmed?
Yes. She, I know there was a couple other Republicans that was looking at the way she was going to go, that they were going to follow her lead. I think with her saying absolutely yes, she's going to support him now, all but confirms his ability to be the next Secretary of Defense.
So we heard from Senator Gary Peters there of Michigan today on whether or not he's qualified for the job, not just the allegations against him, but whether or not he himself has the qualifications for this. You seemed incensed by that when it was your turn to ask questions. I want to just play a bit of what you said when you had the microphone.
I'm just looking for qualifications. You didn't give me any qualifications. Starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have.
I mean, first off, that's a pretty serious accusation there. Do you want to name any of the senators that you're saying are drinking on the job?
No, and that's my whole point is that these senators on the other side of the aisle was trying to act like they had more morals than Pete Hegseth, and they don't. If you're going to hold someone accountable for their behavior, then hold everybody accountable. I'm not saying I'm the most moral man or the perfect individual. I'm absolutely not. I wasn't the one calling him out. But if you're going to hold someone at that standard, then hold everybody at that standard. And it's a complete hypocrisy what they were showing when they were talking about his affairs. There's multiple members of Congress that's had affairs on their wives, and that they haven't called to be stepped down. They haven't called them to step down either. And then when it talks about qualifications, what is the qualification to be the Secretary of Defense? The only qualification is you got to be a United States citizen. That's it. Other than that, it is the president's choice, and the Senate has the right to advise and consent. And he meets the qualifications to be the next Secretary of Defense.
But I was in that room today, and when you said that, I guess the thought that went through my head was, if what you're saying is true, and your colleagues do show up drinking to come to work and vote, which I think would maybe be concerning to those taxpayers who pay them, how is the bad behavior of a sitting senator a defense of someone who wants to run the Pentagon?
It's not. What they were saying is he was incapable of doing his job. And Caitlin, what I was trying to get to is, if you're capable of doing your job and you're able to still drink on the job or late in the evening, then don't tell me that Pete can't. And Pete had already said he's not going to drink, but they just kept hammering it. Pete is qualified to do the job. He's a combat veteran. He's 20-year combat veteran. He's been under fire. He's pulled his own friends out of a combat zone. He's had to bury his own friends that's got killed in combat. The guy has bled. He has sweat. and he has proven his ability for his love for this country. He will do what needs to be done. What's the definition of insanity? Is doing the same thing, expecting different results, and we keep recycling the same type of people as the Secretary of Defense. And where have they got us? Nowhere. President Trump is wanting to put people in the place that's going to shake things up and do things different, and Pete Hegseth is going to do that.
The drinking, I mean, it wasn't just that he had a glass of wine. There were allegations from his former colleagues about him going out to strip clubs or having to be escorted out of parties because he had too much to drink. He denied that. But I'm just saying those were the allegations. It wasn't just that he was seen at Cafe Milano.
Keep in mind that every one of them's been anonymous tips. No one's come forward and actually said this.
Well, Senator Tim Kaine said today that you guys did have the names of these people who have
I haven't seen the
said that he
names.
had too much to
They
drink.
sure didn't mention the names. They said they had one person, one name that had said that. Pete has been adamant from day one that it is an outright lie. Now, if no one's willing to put their name on it and no one's willing to come forth on it, and believe me, they had plenty of time to come forth, they've all known this, then all it is a smear campaign, and that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and on the other part of the hearing that really focused on him being qualified for the job, in addition to the allegations made against him, you know, you have been an aggressive questioner of nominees in the past over whether or not they were qualified. It was for the Undersecretary of the Air Force. I just want people to listen to how you've questioned candidates before.
I'm just looking for qualifications. You didn't give me any qualifications. You gave me your history, your story. But what makes you qualified to be the Undersecretary of the Air Force?
Now, that was for Melissa Dalton. She had 20 years in defense, not very much in the Air Force, I believe. And you had really aggressive questions for her in that hearing. So it's not like it's unusual for someone to question someone's qualifications and whether or not they should have a job. I mean, being a sitting senator is one thing, and obviously an esteemed position, but also to run the Pentagon, you're in charge of millions of people and billions of dollars.
I don't disagree with that whatsoever. What I was specifically referring to today with Pete is that they were saying he is unqualified because he has a past. Everybody
Gary
has
Peters
a past.
was saying because he hasn't actually run an organization, as Pete Hegseth himself acknowledged, with more than 100 people in it.
And I go back to there's most senators that never ran an organization either. But when you start talking specifically about what they were going after him today, they were going after him because they were saying that he was unqualified because of his past history. We all have a past. And here's what I tell people all the time. I've been blessed to be successful in business moderately or in a large way, depends on which way you define it. And I've never fired anybody, Caitlin, for making a mistake. I have fired people for not admitting they made a mistake. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to admit it the first time, but once they finally admit they made a mistake, you can move on and people can grow from there. Pete is able to grow, and he's going to be successful in what he's doing because he's able to admit that he's had a past, and he's able to move past it and say, look, I am a changed man. He's proven he's a changed man. He's been very successful in his life, and now he's going to be successful in being Secretary of Defense.
One of the questions he was asked at the end there from Alyssa Slotkin, one of your newest colleagues, was if he would decline to carry out an illegal order if he was given one. And she was saying it's not just about President Trump, but it's about any president. If that was the case, should you decline to do so? He would not just say yes to that. Did that bother you or give you any pause?
He had been very consistent throughout the entire hearing, saying, I'm not answering hypothetical questions.
But it's not really a hypothetical because Mark Esper was in that position, and he felt like he got orders that he, when it came to politicizing the military. It seemed like a non-answer.
It was a very hypothetical question, and that's what all the Democrats kept trying to have hypothetical questions of what if, what if, what if. You don't know all the circumstances behind a what if. It's not cut and dry. It's when someone has to make an in-the-moment decision, there's a lot of factors that go in play at that time. And so a hypothetical question in that type of atmosphere is something you cannot answer.
Shouldn't that answer always be, yes, I would refuse to carry that out?
What he kept saying is, he said, I'm going to follow the Constitution. He kept going back to, I'm going to follow the Constitution. That is about as straightforward as he can. Without answering the hypothetical, he always said that he will follow the Constitution of the United States of America. What else do you want? He's going to raise his hand and swear up to uphold the Constitution of the United States. If he's saying he will always uphold the Constitution of the United States, and he's going to be within the boundaries of the law to do so.
You have been one of his most ardent backers, Senator Mullin. Thank you for coming on and joining us tonight after that hearing.
Thank you.
Another statement I made when I started this video, Senator Mullin on CNN. Interesting. It is because I know that every single time a Republican comes as a guest on this show, will I call it show now, on CNN. They love asking gotcha questions that ends up backfiring because honestly, every Republican that's gone on here has always made me proud. So I'm like, okay, let's see how he's gonna handle that. And he handled it perfectly. He handled it so well. And I just I'm used to it by now because I know that every single time we have any of this um interviews, the reporters are always they leave their job as reporters, they leave their job as journalists, and instead they turn to the Democratic Party spokesperson. Right? That's the new role. Immediately it's a Republican on the other end of the seat being interviewed. They assume the new position of being the Democratic person spokesperson. So it's okay. It's okay. So I love how he did that. I love how he handled that. And this is just me saying thank you so much, Senator. Thank you for standing up for Pete. Thank you for pointing it out to them. And I love that we need more people like this, more people that will come out and say, this is what it is. Let's call black black. Let's call white white, right? If you're going to be asking him, this reporter, does she know what hypothetical questions are? Because if she knows, there's some questions that she was asking, and I'm like, what are you asking? But anyways, this was nice, you guys. Let me know you want to talk to in the comment section. What did you think about this video? I, for one, think that, Pete is actually the change that the military has been looking for. And I believe he's going to do amazingly well. I believe he's going to do amazingly well. But anyways, you guys, let me know what you think. And I would see you in the comment section because the video starts from there. So do have an amazing day.